It's Wednesday, March 25th. Welcome to the Day Weather Podcast. Well, it's the same thing. We're going to talk about the same stuff today as the last couple of days. We continue to have this feed of moisture coming in from the Pacific, so it's deja vu in more ways than one. We'll talk about that here in a second. More scattered snow and rain on the plains, some thunder as well, and the mountains will continue to see off and on snow showers. This will be especially true for the western slope of Colorado and Wyoming, the Wasatch Front of Utah. As you get into Idaho and as you get up into Montana, lesser shower activity on the plains of eastern Colorado. Now, as we get into later in the week, we've got a stronger storm system that is coming together. Looks like it's going to be a Friday, Saturday morning type storm system. It's very similar to last week. In fact, I put deja vu here at the top of the slide because it's really close to being what we had a week ago. There's some differences, but very similar in terms of where the storm will be, who's going to be impacted, and what will unfold. Better weather will come in for the second half of the weekend. I think we do see improving weather for Sunday and into Monday and Tuesday and maybe Wednesday and next week with some nicer, warmer springtime conditions. This is where we are right now. This next storm system coming into Washington and Oregon is what's going to swing through here later in the week. In the meantime, here's the flow of moisture coming from the Pacific, continuing to feed moisture into the Intermountain West. The snow in the mountains, the showers on the plains, that's why we're getting what we're getting right now. But it's a fairly mild flow of air from the Pacific and the desert Southwest, so temperatures aren't going to be bad. However, that same system up into Washington and Oregon is going to swing through and form a closed low over northeastern Colorado by Friday night and Saturday morning. This is remarkably similar to what we had a week ago when we had the rain, the thunder, then the snow and the wind. The temperatures were quite a bit colder with the storm last week. This storm isn't as cold, but it's taking a track very similar to the last one. Now, the differences are it's not as cold, so we're probably looking at this as a rain snow event on the plains, especially 5,000 feet and lower. There'll be a nice slug of snow and rain for the higher elevations, but it will be cold enough that there probably will be a changeover to snow Friday and Friday night, especially 6,000 feet and above. We want to let stock growers know in this area right here especially that we'll have some concerns for windy, colder, wet conditions Friday and Saturday. Travel will be impacted as well. The last storm, it snowed quite a bit, but the snow accumulations really weren't all that great because there was a lot of melting, and I think this is another similar situation. But if you've got young and weak livestock, you're still looking at windy, cold, wet conditions with rain and wet snow nonetheless. That system is going to produce precipitation that's going to look like this. Now, I'm going to show you 3 different maps to again highlight the difficulty in trying to nail down these storms in terms of where the best precipitation is going to be, the heaviest moisture. This is from the European model showing that stretch of moisture from the Pacific coming into here. But it's this moisture right here that's part of the Friday, Saturday storm system. So you can see a ½ inch to an inch of water with this system. We've got a dry slot in southwest areas of Nebraska and northeastern Colorado, at least with this particular model. So these are some pretty decent rain and snow amounts coming Friday and Saturday. Another model, this is the Icon model, has got a lot more moisture. It has heavier snow totals over a large area in northeastern Colorado, western Nebraska, and eastern Wyoming. This is what we call that closed low situation. This model is continuing to be much stronger. Notice, this model here has the heaviest precipitation in southwest and southern areas of Nebraska's panhandle. This model has almost nothing. Then we go to the American model that has, again, that dry gap right there in northeast Colorado and the southern Nebraska panhandle, and the heavier moisture more up towards the Pine Ridge further north. So when we have discrepancies like this, we're still going to be struggling with giving you a forecast, at least this far out, of how much snow is going to fall, but we are going to have that rain-snow mix anyway. But one thing that is coming into better clarity is this storm is looking stronger. It is going to close off, and it is going to be impactful for livestock interest and travel over eastern Wyoming, western Nebraska, and northeastern Colorado. The trick is sorting out the details. There will be some pretty good wind Friday night and Saturday on the backside of the system as well, similar to what we had with last week's storm. as we get further out, as that storm moves away, this is for Wednesday, April 1st, and no fooling, we've got a nice big high coming in later in the weekend and early next week to give us a little bit of spring weather early next week. So that'll be nice to have. As we get a little bit further on, though, by the following weekend, well, here comes another low. This is a pretty strong low showing up for the weekend of April 4th. We'll have to see. Question marks on whether or not that comes to fruition or not, but it looks like a busy pattern for the last days of March and into early April. But we do have that nice break coming Sunday through next Tuesday. Thanks for listening and watching the Day Weather Podcast. We'll talk to you tomorrow, and we'll have an update on that Friday, Saturday storm.